Right off the bat on the outside of the AMG UH-1 Gen II, God, Mercedes AMG CLK GTR. So what's the difference between the original Razor AMG UH-1 and the newer AMG UH-1 Gen II? The Gen 1 model here was Vortex's very first holographic weapons sight, and it utilized the unique advantages of a holographic sight over a traditional red dot or 1x prism sight to make it one of the fastest optics that you can possibly use in close quarter situations. The most notable feature that's unique to this sight and really holographic weapon sights in general over pretty much any other sight out there is the fact that there is zero distortion of the image itself. And that's what really gives these sights that heads-up display feel that so many people who use them talk about. When there's no distortion of the image and you just have that reticle out there floating in front of your eye, it makes it extremely fast and easy to use. Now around that holographic system, we have an all aluminum housing, a big open window on either side making for a wide field of view through the optic itself. We have these flush adjustments for elevation and windage on the side, a quick release mount integrated into the sight, which mounts it to any Picatinny rail platform and sets the optic at a lower 1/3 co-witness height. When it comes to the battery inside this sight powering the illumination, it is a CR123A battery, and the illumination system itself is very efficient with the UH-1. For a holographic sight, being able to get upwards of 1,500 to 1,700 hours of battery life on a middle setting is really impressive, being that we're powering a laser instead of the traditional LED of your red dots and other sights like that. All right, and now on to the real reason you probably clicked on this video, the new AMG UH-1 Gen II. Now right off the bat, when you look at the outside of the UH-1 Gen II, you can see that we've made some improvements to the aesthetics of it, and that came from some customer feedback, and I gotta be honest with you guys, it just looks cooler. So, looks aside, we gotta start talking about performance upgrades to the Gen II UH-1. The one thing we know a lot of you are waiting to hear me say is it is night vision compatible now. Notice on the back, there's an additional button compared to the Gen 1 UH-1 here, which says NV on it. Now pushing that button will cycle you into NV mode, where all the illumination intensity settings are suitable for night vision equipment. Pushing it again will bring you into the normal daylight mode, where everything is going to be visible to the naked eye. Now further improving upon the super fast nature of this holographic sight, we've increased the size of the rear window here on the Gen II, the window that's nearest to your eye when you're looking through the sight. And when you actually get behind it and look through it, you can see it really does improve the apparent field of view and the field of view through the sight that you see, and it makes it even more of a heads-up display-like feel. Moving around to the side of the UH-1 Gen II here, you'll see that underneath the battery cap, we are still utilizing a CR123A battery, but this cap itself is actually now toolless. So that is a lever that flips up. You can unscrew it, tighten it back down, flip the lever down, and there's no need for a screwdriver or finding some quarter in your cup holder of your car. Pretty easy to get to. Now, one thing that doesn't carry over from the Gen 1, in our skeletonization and some of the new industrial design of the Gen 2 here, we did remove the micro USB port, which on the Gen 1 was used to recharge rechargeable batteries. But that is not present on the Gen 2. For those wondering about the reticle inside of this sight, it is the same in the Gen 2 as it was in the Gen 1. It is the EBR CQB reticle with a 1 MOA center point, 65 MOA ring around the outside, and that CQB triangle for those 7 yards, approximately close quarters engagements that you can make easy quick holdovers in those tight spaces. All right, now this is gonna address a couple questions we've gotten on the Gen 1s up until now. And the Gen 2s aren't any different. There's nothing wrong with the sight, but a few people have wanted to know. The mounting system on the Gen 2 here is exactly the same, with the quick release throw lever here, and it mounts up to Picatinny rails, putting it at a lower 1/3 co-witness height. The elevation and windage adjustments are also the same as the Gen 1, and those do actually kind of play together because the windage adjustment on this particular sight is actually external. So the base, when clamped down to the rifle itself, actually is sort of independent of the sight itself, and as you adjust windage, the whole thing physically moves. Now some people have noticed when they put a lot of pressure on the sight, when it is solidly mounted to the gun, they can see it flex a little bit. That's not an issue with the base, it's not an issue with the sight, it's totally normal, it's under spring pressure, and it does go back to where you had it. It does go back to your 0. So again, nothing to worry about there for any of those who were wondering or get the Gen 2 here and maybe wonder when they see that happen. So those are the differences between the Gen 1 and Gen 2 UH-1 holographic sights. As usual, if you have any questions about it, let us know in the comments below. Hit us up on the phone, email, social media, whatever works. We appreciate you guys watching these videos. Let us know if you have any other questions or things you want us to address, but otherwise, we will see you on the next video. Thanks again. So what's the difference between the original? Dude, every time it's a razor, original. Original Rager.
The artisanal.
The artisanal. Never mind. So what's the difference between the, I knew I was gonna say it. I was like ready to say it.